Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Facebook Live storytelling tonight. It feels like it's been a really, really long time since we've done this, but there's been so much going on. There has been a lot of things that if you follow on my Facebook or my Twitter that we've been up to help you guys continue creating stories this summer. One of those wonderful things has been doing virtual visits to the Ottawa Public Library, and you can still register for those. I've got 2 more courses coming up, August 10th and August 20th. The registration link is at timholmes.com. That's TIMMHOLMES.com. Been doing tons and tons of stuff, and we're really, really excited to be able to say that we are in the final stages of getting our Start a Story Apple iOS app ready for release. So that is coming very, very soon, and you'll be able to create stories with me on your mobile device. You'll be able to add art to your own stories. You'll be able to get a storytelling from me within the app. It's going to be pretty cool, and I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on it. Now, what we're getting together tonight for, of course, is something that my patrons at patreon.com, I have a monthly program we run at patreon.com, and you can again find that link at timholmes.com and check out all the benefits that are available. But one of the benefits that we do is I create a pick your part story for the children who are part of my creative crew, and every month they create with me and they do different things, but this one thing is they go through and they make the choices as to how they want to build this particular story that I'm about to tell you, and they choose everything from the title to the characters' names to how the story progresses. And so this is a story that my patrons with their creativity decided to build, and it's my job now to tell everyone the story that they built. And the story they built, they decided to call A Summer to Remember. So this is a one-of-a-kind storytelling. You're not going to hear this anywhere else. Created just for you guys. A Summer to Remember. Mia had always wanted to be a veterinarian when she grew up. She'd always loved animals of all types, cats, dogs, birds, it didn't matter. She would love to go to petting zoos, and she would love to go to the zoo and check out all the animals, and she did all sorts of research. But Mia had a problem. Animals didn't seem to like Mia. Dogs would bark, cats would hiss. It was a very strange thing. Now one day, she was at the beach with her grandmother, and she was enjoying the water, and she found a seashell, a really big one, a conch shell, and she could hear strange things inside. And she went to her grandma and said, "Mom, Grandma, there's some strange things happening inside this shell. I can hear them." And Grandma said, "Well, I tell you what, dear, whatever you do hear from the shell, it's always the truth." And so Mia thought that was amazing. And she thought, "Oh, well, I have to give it a wonderful close listen." And she listened really close, and she pushed her ear all the way into the shell that she could. And first, all she heard was what sounded like the waves of the ocean. And as she listened closer and closer, she realized she could hear something else. She could hear a ghostly voice behind those waves in the seashell. And that ghostly voice was saying something. She was trying to pick out the words, and then she finally heard it. It said, "Follow, follow the golden seagull to change your fate. Follow the golden seagull to change your fate." Follow the golden seagull to change my fate? That sounds really kooky. And then she heard it, "Grr, grr, grr," up ahead, and it sounded a little like a crow, but it was a seagull, and wouldn't you know, it looked kind of gold the way the sunshine hit it. And she thought, well, this is the bird I have to follow. And she ran to her grandma. "Grandma, Grandma, we have to follow the golden seagull. The seashell said it, and you said everything the seashell said was the truth. So Grandma, can we hop in the car? Can we follow that golden seagull?" And Grandma, with a bit of a smirk on her face, said, "Sure, Mia, let's go. let's see where the seagull goes. And so they drove for quite a long time, and then they drove further and further away from the ocean, and they ended up in the desert. And Mia's grandma got kind of tired. She said, Mia, I'm just going to rest and have a quick little nap in the car. If you want to discover around and see if you can find the golden seagull, you go right ahead, but don't go too far. And so Mia wandered around nearby Grandma's car in the desert, and that's when she heard, what is that, thought Mia. And Mia froze and she looked around, and that's when she saw a rattlesnake. And the rattlesnake was slowly moving through the sand, coming towards Mia. And Mia didn't want to move because she felt like the snake would think she was a threat if she moved. But the snake seemed to smile. And then, much to Mia's surprise, the seagull smiled and spoke. And the snake said, "You don't belong in the deserts." No, I don't, said Mia. I don't belong in the desert. I just followed the golden eagle. Have you seen him? Oh, yes, I've seen the eagle. He mentioned you might be coming. Seagull mentioned I was coming? The seagull spoke to you? You and the seagull can talk? Oh, of course, don't be silly, girl. All animals can speak. And we speak to each other to keep ourselves safe, said the snake. Well, what did he say? Did he tell you why I had to follow him? Well, yes, he did mention a particular seashell, and that you might be following him because of a message you may have heard. So you know. Well, I wanted to follow the seagull and see where it led. Did it lead me to you? Why, yes, I happen to be the next step in your, shall we say, adventure. Well, what comes next? What do we do? Well, said the snake, I am a riddling rattlesnake. You must solve my riddle. And if you do, you will know where to go next, to change your fate, as it were. Oh, okay, I'm pretty good at figuring things out, said Mia. What's the riddle? And so the snake put on his best snake smile, and he posed, and he said, Mia, you need to figure out what I am. You mean you're not a snake? No, Mia. In the riddle, I'm going to speak as if I am something I am not, and you need to figure out what that thing is. Okay. Tell me the clues, said Mia. And so the snake said, I am hard. I'm hard, but I'm not stone. I'm cold, but I do not need a coat. Now, if you warm me up, I change appearance, but I am not popcorn. Oh, wow. And Mia thought, hard, but not stone. Tests are hard. Cold, but doesn't need a coat. Tests are cold. What's cold but doesn't need a coat? Well, reptiles are cold-blooded. But warm me up and I change appearance. But I'm not popcorn. Warm me up. Wait a minute. Are you? Yes. I think hard but not stone. Yes. Cold, but I don't need. Yes. Warm me up and I change appearance. Yes. Mr. Snake, I believe that you are ice, said the snake. I've never had anyone solve my riddle on the first guess. Mia, you're absolutely correct. I am ice. You need to go where there is the most ice on the planet. I need to go to the Arctic? Oh boy, how do I get... Wait a minute. My Uncle Jim's a fisherman. I bet you if my grandma takes me to my Uncle Jim could get me to the Arctic. And so that's exactly what Mia did. She ran back to her grandma's car. Grandma, wake up! Grandma, wake up! Grandma woke up. Oh, sorry, dear, sorry. Oh, what seems to be the matter? Grandma, I need to get to the Arctic and we need to get Uncle Jim to take me there. That seems rather exciting. All right, let's go, said Grandma. And Grandma, a little confused, drove all the way to Uncle Jim's house. And Uncle Jim lived on the coast. And so off he went, and they knocked on Uncle Jim's door. And Uncle Jim answered the door, and he was surprised to see Mia. My, Mia, why are you here? This is an interesting surprise. Thank you so much for coming to see me. And she said, Uncle Jim, can we please go out on your boat? I followed a golden eagle, and I talked to a snake, and we need to go to the Arctic. And Uncle Jim went, Mia, have you been eating some strange gummy bears? And Mia said, no. I listened to a shell. Grandma said it was the truth. And then I followed the golden eagle, and it took me to a snake. And the snake and the eagle the seagull talked with the snake, and the snake told me a riddle, and I answered the riddle. And apparently, I need to go to the Arctic so I could change my fate. Uncle Jim blinked a few times. Well, that seems plausible, he said. And they closed the door, locked it up, and they got in his boat and sailed across the ocean to the Arctic. It was a very long trip, and it took several weeks. But they got to the Arctic, and Mia bundled up in all of her snowsuits and snow boots and put on her toque, and she walked through the snow, not really sure why she was in the Arctic. And then she came by a cave. And that cave, across the front of it, hung many different icicles dripping from the top. And one such icicle caught her eye. And that icicle, it almost shimmered with a rainbow color. And it wouldn't have been so odd if all the icicles were doing this, but the other icicles really just looked like plain, icy, sticky, cold icicles. But this icicle seemed to call to her. And so she reached up really high, snap, and she snapped it off. And sure enough, as she held it in her hand, she could feel it vibrating a little bit. And she held it tight, and she saw the rainbow colors glimmer inside the icicle. And she thought, I feel like I need to make a wish. And she looked down, she closed her eyes, and she said, I just want to change my fate. I want animals to like me. And Mia, with her eyes closed, she didn't feel anything change. She didn't feel any different. The magic must have been just in her mind. Maybe she shouldn't have made a wish. But she opened her eyes, and she realized, with a shock, that something had happened. She was no longer in the Arctic. She was looking out at the ocean from atop a giant volcano. And as she stood atop in this warm weather, atop this volcano, she saw the icicle melt in her hand and the rainbow colors drip onto the ground below her. Uncle Jim must still be back in the Arctic wondering where she was, but here was Mia at the top of a volcano. She looked around all around her and she thought, oh my goodness, am I in Hawaii? That's so cool! How am I going to get home? Well, first step is I got to get off this volcano. And so she looked around for a path to try and find her way down, and she did. She found a little path that wound around, but then it didn't take her too far. It didn't take her all the way down the mountain. It led her to an entrance that took her inside the volcano. And so there she was, entering the tunnel inside the volcano, and it had winding tunnels going many different directions, and at many points she had to choose whether she was going to go straight, left, or right. She didn't know what to do. And so she made her best guess at every turn, and it seemed like she was in the tunnels for hours. And as she was kicking around and trying to look for a way out, she saw a little stone. It was a lava rock. It had little air pockets all the way through it, and it was round, almost perfectly round. And she thought, this is quite beautiful. I'm going to hold on to this. And she put it in her pocket. She didn't think much of it as she wandered the tunnels for a couple more hours. And then she was starting to get hungry and thirsty and warm. And I'm never going to find my way out, thought Mia. And that's when she heard, why don't you just ask for directions? Hello? She said. Where are you? I don't see you. I'm just trying to find my way out. I don't want any trouble. And the voice said, oh no, I was just offering some help. We run around these tunnels all the time. And she said, okay, I seriously don't see you. Oh, well, look down, silly. We're down here. And she looked down at her feet. And there were rats right at her feet. Ooh, thought Mia, no, I don't like rats and mice. And the rats went, no, calm down. We're the clean kind of mice. We take care of ourselves. It's all good. If you follow us, we'll get you out of the cave. You actually made a wrong turn about 3 turns ago. Come on, we'll take you out. And so she said, okay. And away she went down through the tunnels. And she followed the rats. And she thought, I better ask. I've talked to a snake and I've talked to some rats. How is this happening? And she thought, wait a minute. Is it the stone? She asked the rats, Rats, I've never been able to speak to animals. I've never heard your voices before. Is it the stone that lets me hear you? Is it the lava rock that lets me hear you? Oh, no, it's totally not. I think you kind of just believe that you can. Did you have the lava rock when you spoke to the snake in the desert? You know about the snake? Well, yeah, you think you're the first one to take the magical icicle and show up on the top of the volcano? No, we have lots of veterinarians that do that. What? Thought Mia. That's insane. No, it's totally legit. One of the best things a veterinarian can do is learn to understand what every animal needs. And the best way to do that is ask us. And all you gotta do is believe that you can. And your mind learns to understand what we're saying and translate it for you. Wow, that is so incredible, thought Mia. I was looking for some magical answer and the magic was inside me the whole time? That's amazing! Now, Mia got to the nearest payphone and called her grandma. And she told her where she was. And Grandma told her to go to the police station and that they would take very good care of her until Grandma or Uncle Jim could come rescue her from Hawaii. But while she was there, Mia decided to enjoy the beach. And as she was on the beach, she found another seashell. And she thought, I wonder what this one has to say. And she picked it up and she put it to her ear and she put her ear all the way in and she listened. And she couldn't believe what she heard. The end. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the Pick Your Part story, a design your own story that my patrons at patreon.com/Tim Writes. Every month they get a Pick Your Part story that they get to design all the different parts of the story, the character's name, what happens through the story, the beginning, the ending, the title of the story. And that was a Summer to Remember put together by my patrons. If you want to check it out, there's lots of other benefits that happen at patreon.com. The link to it is at timholmes.com. And you can check out and be part of my creative crew where we create stories every month. The other thing I want you guys to keep your eyes out for is the announcement coming very soon for the Start a Story app. It's coming very, very soon. Today we were literally putting the finishing touches on it. We're getting really excited about putting it out there for the world to see and getting your hands on it. You'll be able to create stories and mix and match different ideas inside the story. Add your own art to them, and then you can actually get a storytelling from yours truly right inside the app. So I hope you guys look forward to that. I look forward to seeing you next month when we do another Pick Your Part storytelling. Guys, until then, take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and always have fun creating.